who are corporate in nature, where I could operate or manage patients who are relatively better off, and where I could manage patients who had some TPAs or health insurance. So I have tried to balance it so that I don't refuse any patient. I can manage both the patients like who are poor or who are well-to-do. And also, initially it was very difficult. I remember I operated one patient in my first month. That was a BCS, and she was a breast cancer patient, and then only one patient, but then gradually it has increased, and currently I'm doing about more than about 25 30 cases per month. So that initial 6 months was really demanding, and but I persisted, and it is generally for everybody, even for specialties like neurosurgery, urology. It is not easy in Lucknow. There are a lot of urologists or a lot of neurosurgeons here, so it is like for everyone. It is not easy for anyone. So that's how my work gradually grew. And as Dr. Dalpati said, I'm really I made it a point that I will never operate a general surgery patient. I was offered a lot of general surgeries initially. People used to call me to do a hysterectomy or a lap poly. They will just say, "Hey, doctor saab, just come and we'll do, and your name will be there." But then I totally refused, because I was very sure that I won't be doing any general surgeries, and that has really paid off. Because if you start doing general surgeries, then if you start doing hysterectomies or lap polis, then a gynecologist or a general surgeon will never refer you to any patient. So people who refer to me, they know that I am a pure endocrine surgeon and breast surgeon, so they are more confident. And also, uh, I've started in these 3 years. Gradually, I've started to operate. Maybe mainly I've operated all sort of varieties, uh, breast, adrenals. I've started, like, I've operated all the varieties. I've managed two men one patients. One patient I have to operate next week, who is a men one patient. So that way I'm satisfied. My work is increasing gradually, and also I have joined two peripheries. It's difficult initially, so you have to move out of Lucknow. Also in Lucknow, there's a trend that all the specialists, be it urologists and neurosurgeons, initially they just move out. And I visit two centers, one in Bahraich and one in Sultanpur, once a month, and those are being managed by good local general surgeons who have got a grasp on the local population. So I get referrals from these centers, so that helps to build your practice. And also, I like to say that my intent has been always to work with good people. I've always tried to interact with people who are in any specialty, who are the masters, who are really gurus in their field, be it any specialty, orthopedicians, nephrologists. I've always tried to interact with them, because until and unless you don't talk to them, you don't tell them what we do, then people won't refer to you. So especially in private practice, you have to let your ego down, and you just have to talk to them and tell them. And right now, I've noticed that in the last 6 months, some consultant who I talked to 2 years back, now I haven't talked to them the last 2 years. Now they are sending patients. So it is important that you talk to all the good people, you discuss with good consultants. Don't initially you are tempted to operate in small hospitals, like in the gully and mohalla. They will call you, but I have never gone to those places, and now that practice has been really fruitful. And also, regarding the endocrinologist part, I have one endocrinologist. There are 3 4 endocrinologists in Lucknow in private practice, but I have just teamed up in one of our alumni from SGPGI, and we have a team. We operate patients together, we manage them together, and now this has been consistent. So I don't go after all the endocrinologists. I try to stick to one, and he refers to me, and I always send my patient to him. So that is the case. And also, one thing that I have always tried to involve everyone in my case. I have never been like I'm the endocrine surgeon and I'm the most qualified person, but I've always tried to involve as many people as possible in my cases, like gastroenterologists or nephrologists, urologists, because that's how they come to know about you. Regarding one case, one patient whom I have to operate next week, it's an insulinoma in the pancreatic body. I was not aware that endoscopic ultrasound is available in private practice in Lucknow. So I talked to one gastroenterologist. He said that he has bought a new machine. So that's how people come to know. And he said he's referring all these patients somewhere else. So that is one thing that I try to interact with a lot of specialists, so that they come to know about my work. And lastly, as things have like become more stabilized, I have grown in confidence. So there is one plan that obviously everyone in private practice wants to have his own center also. So there are a group of doctors in Lucknow in private who are really established surgeons and physicians, and we are planning to start our own hospital, and we'll start it maybe in 2 to 3 years. So that will be a center where I can plan things according to my own choice. I can have a whole dedicated breast unit, or I can start some academics also. So that is a thing which is for the future. So that's how it is. Initially it was difficult, but as I have persisted, things have become more comfortable and satisfactory. So that's how it is.
Thank you, Dr. Navneet, for sharing your experience and your journey after passing out from this institute. Thank you very much. Now we request to Dr. Chaitra. Good to see you, Dr. Chaitra, please.
Hello, sir. Hello, everyone. It's been a very long time since I've seen all of you. Since I've passed out in 2018 from SGPGI, I've joined another MCH course in the UK. It's a course in oncoplastic and reconstructive breast surgery. I've just given my Viva yesterday and I've cleared that exam, so yay.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. So over these past 2 years here in the UK, I've been doing a lot of reconstructive surgeries and non-palpable cancer surgeries. So those are the two main things that are different from the surgical practice in SGPGI. We do have 2 endocrine surgeons here in the department. Fortunately, not all breast departments have endocrine surgeons. So 2 of the breast surgeons here, they are endocrine surgeons as well. And they have 2 clinics a month and 2 theaters a month, which is quite less compared to what we're used to in SGPGI. But because I'm the only fellow who's interested in endocrine surgery, I get to do all of those surgeries with them. Or if it's parathyroids, they just leave it to me. But if it's thyroids, they like to do one half and they'll give me the other half. So I've still been able to keep one foot in endocrine surgery, a foot through the door. Yeah, so my plans are to actually come back to India as soon as possible. I'm trying to wrap things up here with the current COVID situation. So hopefully I'll be back in India soon and, experience what struggles are to establish one's practice. I'll finally find out how that's like once I get back, I'm guessing. So there's one thing that I'd like to suggest. So here there's this association called British Association of Endocrine and Thyroid Surgeons, BATES. They have this website, and a lot of the endocrine surgeons who are members of the BATES organization, they upload their anonymous patient details and outcomes, surgical outcomes on the website, so that other patients who want to undergo similar surgeries or anybody in general can view their complication rates and the number of cases they've performed. So that might be a way to go if we're thinking about an endocrine register for the country. Maybe this can be something that is done through the Indian Association of Endocrine Surgery. If we have a website where we can upload anonymous patient details and complication rates, I think that's probably one way to do things. If you think that's appropriate. So yeah, that's my 2 bits.
Thank you, Dr. Chaitra. Dr. Gaurav, you want to give some comments?
No, just congratulations, Chaitra, for
Thank you.
For being MCH Square now.
Yes, I think I'll be the first double MCH breast surgeon in India. I'm guessing there isn't anybody else, because this is the first batch of MCH oncoplastic surgery in UK. So I think I'm the only one. I'm happy about that. Thank you so much for encouraging me to do this. But you and all of the consultants back at SGPJ, everybody encouraged me to do this. I don't think I would have done this without the encouragement. The things I was going through back at that time, I don't think I would have had the courage to move to a different country and do this. I don't think so. And I'm glad that I did come here to the UK, and they actually don't want me to leave, so which is a good sign, I guess, all things considered. But well, that's always been the plan, to come back home. And I've also actually wanted to visit SGPJ once I finished my course here, but unfortunately the current COVID situation, I don't think I'll be able to visit anytime soon, but I'm hoping I can come back to SGPGI at some point and just share my experience with everybody over there.
Chaitra ma'am, your accent has changed.
That's great. Yeah.
And as usual, you raised the bar high.
I've actually toned down my accent, so if I speak to someone who's British, it comes completely British. But yeah.
As usual, you have raised the bar much higher. Thank you so much and congrats, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, so whenever you come back, we will connect with you on Zoom, and we will enlightened by your lecture in our department or with the alumni. Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to participating more.
Yeah.
I wonder why Rauf hasn't joined.
So I've spoken to him today. I think he's a bit busy. I wasn't allotted anything today, that's why I'm at home. But it's a Monday, and it's sort of 12 o'clock right now, so he's a bit busy. He's in a different hospital, but he's busy over there. And he's doing well. If I have to talk about Rauf, he's doing well. He's enjoying the course. Of course, we all have the struggles with our families being back in India and we being here all by ourselves. So that's been the real major struggle these past 6 months, I'd say. But there have been other issues as well with COVID. Some of the reconstructions have stopped for a few months. Now they've restarted doing reconstructions again. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I think, do the bare minimum. That's what the COVID situation called for. Whatever is the least amount of thing you can do safely, that's what you need to do in the current situation.
So I hope you're leaving a good impression back there, so that there is a steady stream of. I am aware that third person is about to join this year. Of course,
yes.
once the COVID situation eases out, but you have to leave a good mark behind, so that you do not. I mean, your quality kind of makes it easier for the people who come after you for going and joining courses in UK. That's great that you've finished it in time.
I can honestly say that the work culture here is laid back in terms of registrars. So that's not how we were when I was at SGPGI. So we get things done more sincerely than people working here. I'm sort of a different kind of personality that they've had to. They were happy that I was around, because nobody says yes to doing a work if they haven't been previously assigned it or anything else. So unless you've been actually put down for some work, nobody else really bothers about doing it. So you can say, no, I don't want to do it. That's how registrars are here, unfortunately. But yeah, our work culture is much, much better compared to what it is here in that way. People want to, learn and give back at the same time. Here, people just want to learn. That's I think the difference. It's a cultural difference.
Things are much better outside of SGPGI. For all of us, all my friends, I know they feel and say better things about SGPGI only after they have left SGPGI. But then that's natural. Okay.
Oh, I'm not saying I wasn't under pressure when I was in SGPGI.
No. I can see some smiling faces in agreement to my statement. Perhaps Chandan is the only one who's not agreeing to it.
I think having a sort of a rigorous curriculum and a hectic schedule, it sort of prepares you for anything and everything. So my time here in the UK, I feel like it's just been a holiday. I've just come here and I see patients very casually and I operate very casually. That's how I feel the whole experience has been compared to, you know, what I've had to, the hours I've had to work at SGPGI as being part of a residency. Here it's an oncoplastic fellow job, so I have a limited, restricted 40-hour work week. And you know that's how everybody else is here. They just work during their work hours and they're not bothered, even if it's 5 minutes to 8 or 5 minutes after 5. Nobody's bothered about anything else. So I think that's not going to be very helpful if you're not used to going the extra mile for your patients or for your practice when you want to work in India, come back and have a private practice. So you need to be used to working the way that we worked in SGPGI. That's what I definitely
Thank you very much, Dr. Chaitra. Thank you. And we are now finishing our time, so we just rush to, we have just newcomers and we have 2-3 more. Our alumni are left. So just quick, Dr. Sanjay. Dr. Sanjay Yadav.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. So I think I am amongst the youngest alumni as I passed out from SGPGI last year only. So right now I am working at Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Medical College, Jabalpur as assistant professor of surgery. So my story is very short. And well, my experience after coming out from SGPGI was good as far as job prospect is concerned. And I contacted at least 5 new AIMS directors, Manipal University, CMC Ludhiana, and Kalinga Institute of Medical Sciences. And I got offers from all of them. None rejected my application. Means everyone was interested. So, and everyone knew about SGPGI endocrine surgery department, especially Mishra sir, ma'am, Gaurav sir, and Gyan sir, everyone. So I worked at AIMS for a short period, but I always wanted to work in a government setup. So I got opportunity at Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Medical College and I joined here, but it is a general surgery post. So as far as clinical work is concerned regarding pure endocrine surgery, competition is really tough and I am working on that right now. And I got many advices today. Surely I will try to implement it. But academically, I am well placed here in this short period of time. And that's because of training at SGPGI only. I work with general surgery colleagues and I have written many articles in past 6 months. Everyone seeks my opinion on seminars, journal clubs, their presentations, and that keeps me happy. So I am working on my clinical work. So that is all I want to share. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Dr. Chitresh, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Sir, in very short, I just want to connect Sanjay and Chandan because I'm also in AIMS right now, National Cancer Institute, Jhajjar. It's a part of AIMS. So if you want to change the system, you have to be in the system. So whether it's a general surgery or surgical oncology, whether you are a consultant, whether you are a senior research fellow, if you want to show that endocrine surgery is what all about, you have to be in the system. So I joined AIMS as I told by Gaurav sir that some endocrine course is about to be in AIMS New Delhi. So I was in Delhi. My wife was doing junior residency there, and before that I was in contact with Vivek sir, and I was planned to join the corporate. But as soon as I heard the news that some endocrine courses coming in the main AIMS, so I thought because I have a academic interest, so I thought it's the right time to move in, and I joined as a senior research associate, that is pool officer, because there was no post at that time. I worked for 2 years, but I was doing endocrine surgery, and endocrinologist, nuclear physician, they are aware that what I was doing. And then I moved to uh, in NCI Jhajjar. Even though I am at Jhajjar, they used to refer patients 45 kilometers from the main aims, and this is a bit controversy that somebody's operating in main hospital, so why they are referring to the other center which is designated for the uh, cancer center. But patients are also satisfied, and our colleague are also satisfied, and I wish there will be a proper endocrine department in the main aims. Still, they are running the breast endocrine and general surgery MCH course in main aims. So it's a good news that something breast has been attached with the endocrine also. So others aims, because now there are more than 20 aims in India, and others can easily follow what is happening in the main aims. So now it's very easy to create a seat in the general surgery department for MCS seat if you have an academic experience of more than 2 years. But the seat will be MCH breast endocrine and general surgery. And top of that, AIMS Rishikesh has last year announced a MCH in only breast surgery. So if somebody is interested, some of us who is just finishing MCH endocrine surgery and they're keen to get the breast surgery, so they can try. I hope the endocrine surgery and rather I should say breast and endocrine surgery will have a in institute. It's have a great future, at least for next 10 years. After that, I don't know. Maybe we are competing with all others, as Dr. Vivek has said. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chitresh, for enlightening your journey. And now we have Dr. Gunj. Dr. Gunj, are you connected? Then Dr. Arun Mohanty from Odisha.
I think Dr.
Yes,
Gan
Arun
would
sir.
like to say a bit about Dr. Arun Mohanty. So some people are wondering why he's in alumni group.
Dr. Arun has worked with us.
So probably he himself can elaborate on that.
Sorry, ma'am.
Probably he himself can come forward and elaborate on that. Your voice.
Yeah, please unmute Dr. Arun.
Your voice is not clear, Dr. Arun. We can hear somewhat.
There is some problem with your connection, I think.
So meanwhile, while he's
Yeah.
rectifying his connection, I would like to let you know that Cuttack Medical College has also established a separate department of endocrine surgery. And most of you are this thing. In fact, all of you also know Dr. Arun Mohanty, but Dr. B.N. Mohanty was the one who initially came to our institute and thereafter established that department. And Dr. Arun Mohanty is keeping that tradition alive. In between, he also visited us, particularly Dr. Gyan, to enhance his skills of endoscopic thyroidectomy. So that's how we are having him here.
Thank you, ma'am. And in between Dr. Two Mohantis, there is Dr. Sarangi is there, who is heading the department there. So there is established department of endocrine surgery at there. And then last is Dr. Mukta is the last. And then we have some concluding remark from Dr. Anjali and Dr. Gaurav. Thank you. Please, Dr. Mukta.
Hi, everybody. It was very nice to listen to everyone. Maybe many of you will not know me personally, but I am one of the initial ones with Dr. Gaurav, Dr. Anjali, with whom I have really, really very good experiences with them. And in SGPGI department, I came after 4 years of general surgery and specialty training in pediatric surgery, in plastic surgery, in neurosurgery, renal transplant. So after a lot of surgical training, I came to endocrine surgery department, hit PTCC from there, and after that left the institute. Although I didn't want to, but the family commitments were there, so I left and joined some general surgery departments in different places, and then went to Nepal for Manipal College, where we established, along with my husband, a cancer center. And there I did a lot of endocrine surgery, but my problem there was, after coming from an institute like endocrine surgery and then suddenly going to a place where nothing was available, not even any investigation, not any nuclear medicine department, not even PTH, not cortisol, no hormone was available to me. So at that time, I really understood why Dr. Mishra always told us to learn the medical aspects of endocrine surgery. There was one very senior consultant who was from Army, a general, who initially just tested me, but later on he was so happy that he then said, "Okay, the all the endocrine cases will be taken up by her." So that is where our training came into thing, and we learned what we learned in SGPGI all by clinical experience. So I did lot many cases there, myasthenia, clinically without ventilators, so many things, because patients were very poor. They were not able to go to any center. They were saying, if you do, you do, otherwise we will not get it done. So that is what where we had a lot of struggle, but gradually we overcome that. Initially for 6 months I was very depressed, but later on I took my way and started doing, and I did a lot of surgeries there and was very much well established. But then came to Delhi in a private practice. So my journey is initially was in a very rural practice. I started my career as a primary health surgeon in a government approved PSC, and then left it and then went to a very place, a small place near the Pakistan border. Like that, I came to know every aspect in every place, like in a very, very rural area, what are the problems. Then in a medical college, I was there in Manipal for almost 8 years or 9 years, and then I came to Delhi and I was in corporate, totally in surgical oncology and in surgical endocrinology. I tried a lot to establish surgical endocrinology here, talked to many hospitals, went to government, went to so many places, but initially nobody was interested. Then gradually I was doing my work and was being recognized. People wanted me to come as a ghost surgeon to surgery, do surgery without telling the name of my name. But I did that also. So a lot of struggle we had, but now gradually we have definitely established. But in meanwhile, due to some personal experiences, always everywhere, some disasters. I worked for Bhuj disaster when I was in Gujarat. I worked for so many disasters. Actually, I have seen that a lot of my things have changed. I started a charitable work in as a foundation, which is Friends and Smile Foundation, in 2014, which was for the poor cancer patients. So at present, I was doing mostly surgical oncology, doing all sorts of surgeries for pancreatic everything, as well as surgical endocrinology. But my main interest definitely stays back in surgical endocrines. Uh, but after 2014, when I established this as a not-for-profit company, where we help all the cancer patients, and we sometimes we do it voluntarily, willingly, without any charges to those who are really needy. So I have seen more than 4,500 patients in different camps in Delhi and NCR and everywhere in whole of Uttarakhand, uh, in this tribal areas. So a lot of charitable work now is being done by the foundation. And for 4 or 5 years, I initially started it as a small part of my practice. Okay, I will do a balance between a spiritual side and a materialistic side. But later on, when I've entered into it, it was really, I felt very nice to do this. And I left almost a lot of my endocrine career and my private practice to do this work. So I am a founder and a director for this thing, where we then in this I will just like to share uh, a small few slides. So what inspired me, because it's very different from what all we are talking about right now. It's a absolutely different work, and maybe it gives you a lot of internal happiness to do this along with whatever you are doing in this world. So this is what, if maybe I don't know, I can share my screen. Because I am not very well versed with all these things. This is my first Zoom meeting. In fact, a lot of people tell me to come on the Zoom, but I am not coming. But this is for the first time I am coming on the Zoom. So can you see this slide?
Yes,
Is it,
ma'am. Please.
is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Can
I'll
you
just take
make
few
it on
minutes
slideshow, please?
more. I'll just take few minutes. So what inspired me was I am very much into Himalayas. I like it very much. So still, so water flowing river starts from in the very small areas from the Himalayas, and then how it goes and takes turns and remove all obstacles, bring everything together, and then finally becomes a big thing to sustain the culture, the whole civilization it sustains. So this was my inspiration. And then we just started this foundation. This was a proper company, but it's an NGO, most authentic form of NGO. It's under section 8A for the charitable purposes mainly, and it's under ATG and 12A exempted for the tax. So in this foundation, we bring many people together. So not many members. Initially, nobody was willing to have this thing on me. That I am doing it for so many other things. I am doing it for my private practice and so many things. People thought about it. But later on, now I have more than 60 members in this, from internationally, nationally as well. We all do our skill sharing here. We are not taking any charges. Uh, every in people from all aspects, lawyers are giving us free services. Uh, the other people are giving the free services. Interns are coming for the social work from different institutes. We have partnership with different institutes for working. Uh, Many of all profession people are actually coming. Those who want to help the society, they are all joining it. And we have a volunteers association for humanity also. And here we just do, mainly we have a children center where we are doing a free of cost teaching to poor children, more than 200 children. And cancer patients we are helping with our skills. And endocrine patients I have helped a lot. So I search all endocrine patients from very poor strata, like those who are in very poor areas like refugee centers, old age homes. I go there, I help them, and I find them. I try to do surgeries if they are needed. And this is what we are doing. And then we are doing a lot of disaster relief, sending medicines, going to the disaster places. So this is all my recent work. And for this, I left a lot of my time. I used a lot of my time in this, but now gradually coming back, it has been established now, and I will like other people to take over it. And I will like to come back to my original endocrine surgery work, which I am still doing, but a little less from the previous ones. So this is all the things which we are doing in the foundation. And hopefully I have a lot of vision about it. Maybe it will help the thousands and crores of people who really, really need our help. And we are not just for the corporates. At least I feel myself that I am not just for the corporates or for anything else. I have lot more things to do than only coming as a work in this. So I want to keep a balance in this. So this is what I have done. And just my suggestion to my this thing: keep a balance in your life, because many times lot of things can change in your life. So it's better that we see do a balance between our life in all the aspects. So
Thank
that's
you.
what. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for enlightening us, and we are proud on you that you are doing so much work for the humanity and giving the best services. Thank you very much. Now we
Yeah,
have,
people are giving that. I am not the only one, and I am not the only one, and I have been helped by people like me who really want to come up and help. So in COVID times also, I was not at all, not even a single day I was free. We were working for the COVID patients, we were working for the laborers, we were working for lot many people. And now I have joined actually a course on chemical and biological warfare also. I still want to learn. I want to learn from everything, whatever I can.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So it was a nice meeting with all of you. Now we have concluding remarks with the faculty who are working with us and also the alumni of the department. So start with Dr. Sabha Ratnam. Dr. Sabha, please. Dr. Sabha, are you there?
Thank you, sir. Actually, I congratulate Gyan sir for finishing his Corona duty. And tomorrow I am going for Corona duty, so I am packing. All the best wishes to everyone. Congratulations to him to finish the duty and whosoever. And stay safe if possible. And if not, then take maximum precautions during this COVID time. And best wishes to all the alumni and all endocrine surgeons. And I'm proud to be an endocrine surgeon. Thank you.
Mukta, you need to unshare your screen now.
I'm not able to. Sir,
Yeah, on the top, on the top of your screen, you will see a green bar, and on the right hand side, you'll see unshare. Unshare your screen.
Okay, I'm really, that's what for the first time I have been attending the Zoom meeting. I really don't know. I had to take help of my child, my son actually, to do it. Okay, I just close it off. I don't know. Screen
No,
share.
even no,
Yeah,
you have to unshare.
yeah.
Maybe Gyan, you can ask the admin.
Yeah, I'm asking to technical person. They are doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Learning
You
how
can
to stop share. Right. I can see it now. I can see. Just to hold, sir, please. Yeah, stop.
शेयर किए क्या
Yes, now I can.
वहां से किया है शेयर बंद करो
हाँ,
आप
हो गया, बंद हो गया.
हाँ, बंद हो गया. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Anjali ma'am. Yes, please. Please unmute your phone.
I really need to say something. I have learned so much today. So, means those who are already left, so we are still learning from their experience. So important thing means whatever I have learned so far is that you keep on learning. And so far, young, the I'm sorry, my throat is not bad, but I'm not having COVID. I last week got tested myself. So the alumni who have already established themselves, so we learn so much from them, and particularly for the younger ones who are still with us. So what then the lesson to take home is that when you go out from this institute, so actually you are getting only a license to be an endocrine surgeon. So but you cannot command anyone that to refer each and every case to you. So first lesson in life is that you need to be very polite. Means once you go out, means once we go out of SGPGI, and this is means naturally it comes to everyone that we are getting training from and degree from a good institute. We are very good at academics. We have learned so much, and this thing, once we go out, people would come and this thing welcome us with open hand. So first lesson in life is that nobody wants a change. You suddenly go out and you are already disrupting an already existing milieu. So we need, as Chitresh rightly said, that if you want to change the system, you have to be in the system. So you have to learn to align with the system, and then gradually make your mark. Means as a student of surgery, we always learn that trick to success is patience, practice, and perseverance, that we have to do all your life, even at this stage, where irrespective of fact whether you are employed in corporate or you are in academics, you should always be ready to learn and unlearn. Sometimes this thing, once you go out, you have to unlearn many things, and then you try to learn new things. And especially for endocrine surgeon, our branch, it's very necessary that we develop a good network. We are on day-to-day practice, we are dependent on so many specialties: pathology, endocrinology, nuclear medicine, radiotherapists, radiology. So we need to make, if possible, possible good friendship. At the least, we should have cordial relation and working relation with all them. Try to make your own team. Okay. And this thing, you have to prove your worth. Nothing comes on platter. So even if you get this thing appointment in an institute, I'm sure this thing, Dr. Gaurav, Dr. Sabha, Dr. Gyan, and myself, we also have our struggle. Because when you are getting employed in institute, already there, the institute would be having established surgeons or consultants ahead of you. So the important thing in your life is that keep learning and have faith in yourself. And if you have this thing, spent 3 years with us nicely, and this thing, as I would say, somebody was referring to the principle of relativity, so it's a very harsh and grilling uh, tenure with us. So I hope that this thing, outside world would be nicer and kinder to you, and I could only this thing hope for all the best to all of you. And we are confident, means today this thing we are happy because our success is not this thing our own individual success. Our success lies in the people who come to us and then leave from our institute and establish themselves as this thing center where who are attracting other talent and other individuals to themselves. And I wish all of you a very happy, healthy, and safe life. So far as COVID is concerned, hopefully we will also come out of it soon. So this will also pass off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am. And we are just finishing time, so we request to Dr. Gaurav for concluding remarks. Dr. Gaurav, sir.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining today. And of course, this is your own department. You can barge in any day. But organizing a meeting of minds, the kind that it has been done today, that will happen only once in a while. Uh, this network has to remain active, more vibrant. There have to be more frequent exchanges as a group. Then only we will continue to, I mean, uh, we shouldn't forget this friendships that we have created over the years and nurtured over the years. Um, so the bottom line which has emerged from all the experiences we have shared today, eventually everybody would succeed. Everybody would find a different route to the success, perhaps to a certain extent. People would go different ways, but eventually they will all. But what you need to be doing is persevere. Do not lose sight of the goal. And I have not heard any single person saying that, oh, he is not doing what he wanted to. Of course, there are people who want to do a little bit more of endocrine surgery than others, and there are some others who would like to do a little bit of general surgery as well, which I do not see as a very good idea. And finally, all those who all those of you who were saying that breasts should be part of the degree course, well, that's not in anybody's hand. It is all dictated by the Medical Council of India, or the National Medical Council, as it is called now. If any of you feel strongly about it, write to the MCI or the NMC. Tell them that breast has been part of your curriculum, and in fact, of all the 5 MCH courses on the offer at this moment in the country, the curriculum includes breast surgery, breast oncology. So in that way, you're not asking for anything new. What you should insist on is that the course, the name of the degree should also reflect the fact that breast surgery is part of the curriculum. All India Institute, the degree is called breast surgery, breast endocrine and general surgery. I hope sooner than later they drop the general surgery part, they continue the breast and endocrine. Uh, but the rest of the 4, all of us are offering training in breast surgery, so it better be endocrine and breast, or breast and endocrine, whatever it may be. And there are a number of other centers on the anvil. I'm aware there are a number of units which have started, a few departments which have started, and even those have breast and endocrine together. So if all of you write to the MCI and make a collective effort, possibly this can be done. I have nothing, I do not know how soon or if at all it will be done. But if that happens, I'll personally be very happy, and I'm sure it will help many of you and many of our future residents. Okay, thank you again for joining. And I think Gyan, do we just continue with the rest of the program? Stay connected, or we're doing something else?
I think we need to be physically there for inauguration, at least faculty.
Oh, okay.
Is Doctor there? Somebody is coming or no? I think it's.
I think 5 to 6 is just inauguration program, and Swami ji from Vivekanand Trust Hospital would be delivering a Foundation Day oration that would be followed by 2 orations, one from Dr. Arvindan Nair and second from Dr. Du.
Okay. Dr. Du has already joined, ma'am, in the meeting.
So the same, is it the same platform, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So nice, Gyan. Thank you so much. Now I am learning this another another telemedicine which sir used to always tell us, but we were not learning that time. Now we are learning, and so it's the need of the time, right? Hmm.
Okay. So nice seeing you all virtually. Hopefully we would meet soon, sometimes physically in near future.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully. I very much want to come back again to SGPJ. It's my second home.
and it was very nice having everyone on board, right from Dr. Ajay Sharma to our latest batch of senior resident. Thank you so much. So we have to go and physically be there for inauguration. So we would continue thereafter.
I request Professor UK Mishra sir to please hand over the bouquet to Swami Muktananda ji. Professor S.A. Mishra sir, please to hand over the bouquet. I would request all the dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and commence the session. We would like to do that one by one in view of social distancing norms. I request Professor Mishra to please come and present the department report.
Somebody present it. Report. PowerPoint.
Yes.
यहाँ पे देखो शर्मा PowerPoint का good evening to our esteemed dignitaries in the dais, Swamiji as a keynote speaker, and our Professor Ika Mishra, who is now chief guest. Professor Arkademan, director, has to attend a meeting in the government. So last minute he has requested me to request Professor Mishra to be the chief guest on his behalf. And all the faculty members, the department, as well as our sister departments who are attending through video conferencing, and also to all the alumni who are connected to us, and all the faculty members who are taking part today in the scientific deliberation following the inauguration ceremony. Professor Kwandu from California and Professor Arvind Nair from Vellore, and also the August audience in the remote locations, and especially a special invitee to Dr. Sabnam Kaur. She is connected to us from Alberta, Edmonton, and also some of our illustrious alumni connected to us from London, from Liverpool, and our fellows from Africa are connected to us. So this is very auspicious occasion for our department. Every year we celebrate this Foundation Day. 7th of September is our department started. So that tradition cannot be forgotten. So in spite of all the problems we got this time, the COVID crisis, though the hall is empty, which is scanty population here, we are all together, if not physically, but with connected with electronically. But our minds are together and our soul is together. That is to remember this day where this department we have been trained, and we could get opportunity to train the next generation. And also to remember all those people and all those supporters who have helped us to break this department block by block, reaching at the 31 blocks. In the future, it will be a number of blocks that will be built in this strong foundation. My dignitaries who are sitting in the dais, I have a special mention for Swamiji. Swamiji is basically engineer, so he'll be introduced properly by the master of ceremony. But I just want to say why I been thinking that we should get someone outside medical field one day to give us something different from medicine, maybe, but linked to medicine. That's what. Some philosopher, some historians, some reformists, social scientists, who should talk of something else, that anything outside medicine, what linked to medicine. So today we are here to listen Swamiji, who has been in the Ramakrishna mission. You know how Ramakrishna mission, the culture and the spirit in which they work. So my special welcome to the Swamiji. And Professor Ika Mishra, all of you know that he was our senior professor, and he was superannuated as a dean and the head of department neurology. And later on also he was in extended period, and now also he's pursuing his research interest and academic interest. He's involved in the online teaching programs, and also be in touch with his students to help them to acquire knowledge and skill. And special welcome to all our alumni. They just had 2 hours discussion among themselves, sharing their stories. This is a very unique phenomenon that we are maintaining and nurturing over the years because they are our ambassadors. They nurture the specialty of endocrine surgery wherever they are. So with this welcome my speech, I would like to present you department report. As you know that we had a Silver Jubilee celebration in 2015. Since then, we are hosting this annual event. We never did it before 25 years. Any kind of organization, individual, anything, historical developments are very, very important to remember. So when we completed 25 years, that time we looked at our back achievements and how we have grown. Then we laid our map for coming 25 years or 50 years. And those things are built on our existing work that we have been doing. And that the work involves three pillars of this institute, that is excellent clinical care, teaching, training, and research. So I'll just present the department report for this 1 year. Can I have my PowerPoint presentation here? So as you know that the corona has made all of us almost paralyzed. We are all active, but we can't do anything. I don't have to elaborate further on that. So before you will see the data, you can realize how much of loss we have incurred in terms of the patient statistics, and that has a direct reflection on our training program. What is how to go down? Scroll. Scroll. Huh? I don't see the screen. The screen.
It is being, it's only not.
Okay, fine, no problem. Now how to go down? Where to go down?
Just click.
Here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can go back.
No, sir, not a left click, sir.
Left?
Yes,
Or
sir.
go back?
And sir, yeah, backward. Then forward.
Okay, fine. Okay. So as you'll find this 1 year report, the audit report that we got, the year we have from last 10 years, you see the trend and where you have landed at this point of time here. Till now, from January to this, we have finished August, almost have finished 8 months. And only 460 cases we have seen. And that too because our EOPDs are there. Otherwise, I don't think we would have seen also this much of cases. So this is an example how you are able to suffer in terms of teaching training. If you see here also the follow-up cases, it's all because of EOPD, we are able to remain in touch with our patients. Had we not have EOPD, all these patients would have suffered. These are all non-COVID patients, that are old patients of ours. If you take a monthly distribution, you see COVID problem started mostly from the May, that's the peak. But April already, as it has started from April, so you'll find totally there is shutdown, complete shutdown. And from May, June, July, August, you find here the graphs. And we are in terrible shape in terms of the patient population. We have taken only the semi-emergency cases and few routine cases, because this is a lot of problems. As you all know, you're all surgeons. So it is the cost to the patient, the problem of doing COVID test, so on and so forth. Didn't have to go in details. All of you are aware about this thing. Similar for our admissions, is all admissions are related to our chemotherapy patients or patients who have solved some problem in the post-operative problems. Previously operated patient, no new cases has been done actually. Same thing we see if you compare the previous years to this year, this number of persons are only 372. And here if you see here, again the number of cases operated, we do only cold cases, we don't do emergency cases. Here you can find with a lot of active energy, we could manage to do 40 cases in July, otherwise the number is very dismal in this. In the breast, if you see here, so the numbers of cases is more because we have practically operated 90% of breast cancers. Very few are thyroid or parathyroids, and pancreas may be 1 or 2. क्या शेयर नहीं हो रहा था अब जा रहे हैं यार slides. So most of the cases, because scheduled chemotherapy, we cannot stop them. So we have to take extra pain doing their COVID test and continue their schedule of chemotherapy. We never stopped our schedule of chemotherapy, even the peak of the lockdown. And if you see the thyroid surgery, because some of them mostly are thyroid cancers. So in this month onwards, January, February, of course, there is no issue because problem started from the March ending towards April, complete zero. Then slowly you have come up to single digits. Parathyroid surgery is same. You can see here. I will not have to explain because these are all understood by all of you. But it is a perception that we have. We are really very serious about our training of the residents. We understand their concern. So these almost 5 months completely didn't have any much exposure. And we have miscellaneous cases of adrenal, very few in number. So this is the entire issue of the clinical activities. Regarding teaching training, we are all using our online teaching training program. We have completely shut down for 1 or 2 months. Then we started with online teaching program. And the department is very active in their research. And of course, this last couple of months was not so much active in terms of the, we have suffered because the precedent research projects are getting hampered, not getting access to the data. So definitely it is affected. But before that, so our faculty members are a good number of publications. They have delivered different lectures overseas as well as in the country. And also the residents have also published a good number of works supervised by the faculty members. So our academic activities, though has given setback in the last couple of months, but before that, we have been very active in that. I not want details of this research, it's all on the website. And I would just like to just tell something about what we want to do in the future actually. This statement that I have prepared here, this is a consensus statement in our department. This is not a new document. This in fact we prepared 5 years ago. I'm repeating that after 5 years because we decided that time on the call of our then director to decide what we want in the next 5 years. This is that statement. I'm repeating that because we have not achieved much of those vision because you have vision, but you require a lot of support for many sectors to achieve those vision. So we wanted to develop a center of excellence for breast health, setting up one-stop thyroid and breast clinic for outpatient diagnostic therapy and counseling. We want to develop advanced diabetic foot care programs, develop minimal access and robotic surgery, development of metabolic surgery, expansion of daycare services, and also to encourage surgeon perform ultrasound training programs, start courses on that, then image guided diagnostic and intervention in breast and endocrine surgery, advancing daycare and short stitch surgery program in our specialty. These are things which requires a lot of support from the administration in terms of finances and logistic factors. So we also intend to start new courses. So we are already running MCS programs. All the alumni are watching from remote locations. This MCS course has gave a boost to many other institutions in the country to start MCS courses. And also these alumni who are now connected, many of them are quite senior enough to set up departments or units or have joined other departments to strengthen departments, and they are also instrumental in starting MCS program in their own institutes. Besides, of course, many of them have taken interest in different subspecialty of endocrine surgery and they're promoting. We're very proud of them. But what is more important is starting some small courses like 1-year courses, diploma courses. Those are very, very relevant for us because general surgeons needs to be trained in one particular field, not necessarily endocrine, but at least thyroid surgery. So you have to have developed such kind of program to be expert in breast surgery, thyroid surgery, diabetic foot surgery. We should think about that. So our next generation of faculty members, wherever they are, they should think of developing such kind of short-term programs. At the same time, I think COVID has taught us how to learn, how to collaborate. I think we need not have to say anything here to convince everybody that how important it is to collaborate, to teach, train, and mentor colleagues around the world and develop a lot of educational material. Even today, the exams are getting conducted with virtual clinical material. So I used to explain these things before, but now it doesn't require explanation. It is now understood by each and everybody. So that's what I wanted to say about our departmental vision achievement. And I'd like to hand over to the Master of Ceremony again to continue the programs. And I hope that all our alumni who are connected to see that the department legacy also goes far and wide with their. I can see Professor Du is already connected. Hi, Dr. Du. It's early morning to you. If you're listening, your mic is off. Dr. Du is there quite early. So he told me he gets up at 5 o'clock. So he must be online. So we'll go to the next step. Dr. Malika, please.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. I would now like to invite for the keynote speech address, Swami Muktinath Anandaji. Swamiji has taken charge as the Adhyaksh of the Ramakrishna Math, Lucknow, and he is the Secretary of the Ramakrishna Mission, Sevashram at Lucknow since July 2000. Prior to this assignment, he was at the headquarters of the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission in Belur Math, Howrah, where he spent 18 long years organizing various relief and rehabilitation activities of the mission spread all over the country and even abroad. Consequently, he was made a member of the Disaster Management Cell at the Administrative Training Institute, Kolkata. In his pre-monastic life, the Swami was a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering. Subsequently, he secured a Master of Applied Science in the Department of Industrial Engineering at University of Toronto, Canada, from where he also earned his PhD degree in Operations Research, specializing in theory of scheduling. In Lucknow, besides conducting regular scriptural classes and bhajans at the spectacular Ramakrishna Temple, he manages simultaneously the Vivekananda Polyclinic and Institute of Medical Sciences, a 350-bedded NABH accredited multi-speciality teaching hospital with ultra-modern diagnostic facilities, postgraduate DNB program in 12 disciplines, a nursing college, a nursing school, and 7 other paramedical diploma courses, covering Lucknow and surrounding rural areas through its mobile medical services. Swamiji is deeply interested in having interactions with the genuine seekers of the truth and shares his thoughts on the topics of eternal values. He also serves as a guest faculty at IIM Lucknow, occasionally speaking on personality development, stress management, and leadership as per Indian ethos. I would now like to welcome him on the dais for keynote address.
I will begin with a Vedic invocation. In Sanskrit, followed by English translation. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ May the Almighty protect us both, the speaker and the listeners. May He nourish us both. May we work together with great energy. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all the beings of the world. Are you recording? I am extremely happy and elated to be here to participate in the 31st anniversary of the foundation of the Department of Endocrine Surgery in SGPGI, in the presence of the founder head of the department, Professor Mishra. It's a singular opportunity and practically the last opportunity, because this may be his last Foundation Day participation as the head of the department. At the outset, I congratulate him on the wonderful facilities and infrastructure made here. Perhaps this is the only such center in the entire world. I was amazed to see his various activities in this center and his attitude to expand not only to other government institutions, but also to other non-government institutions as well. The topic set for the keynote address is in keeping with the present pandemic situation, crisis management. And I will choose the crisis management technique through hidden powers of the mind. अब इसको कट जा रहा है, इसको ठीक कर दो। कटिंग पूरा ठीक है। यस क्या आ रहा है? ठीक है। Am I too tall for this? So, this is all. इसे कर दीजिए, इसे सेंटर कर दीजिए, टेढ़ा हो गया। Now, as we have been being told by all the experts that we do not have any tool so far available with us to fight this pandemic. All you have to do is to develop our immune system. We have been suggested with lot of procedures, menu, and disciplines to reinforce our immune system. Now, please make a note that all are aimed at developing our physical immunity, immunity of the body, this physical body. But behind this physical body, we have a subtle body also, which is called the mind. And indeed, what you and I are today is due to our mental strength, mental capacity, housed within our sound physical system. So side by side, developing our physical immunity, we must develop our mental immunity. Unfortunately, very little is known about our mind and its hidden powers. In this short talk, I'd like to dwell briefly, give an introduction of our mind. Before that, I would like to point out 3 points. First, our mind has infinite powers as opposed to our physical body. Physical body has limited power, but mind has infinite powers. And we are only using a very small fraction of their mental power. The majority of it is wasted either in useless thoughts or routine activities. Second point to note is that the mind has both constructive and destructive powers. The art of controlling the mind is to make use of the constructive powers and control the destructive powers. We do not have two minds. The same mind is performing, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. At some portions of time, they are friendly, it is friendly to us, and other times, it acts like an enemy. As has been told in the Bhagavad Gita, Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu, Atmaiva Ripuratmana. Our own mind sometimes becomes our friend, Bandhu, and sometimes our Ripu, Ari, enemy. This has to be kept in mind. And what is the technique in converting this mind to our favor? Bandhuratmat manastasya janadmaivat manajitaha. The person who has been able to control the mind, his mind will act as a great benefactor, as his friend, and not otherwise. And the secret of controlling the mind is to learn the technique of concentration. Swami Vivekananda says, the secret of success in life is concentration of mind. And the third point to be kept in mind is mind has no power of its own. It is an inert being, like our physical body. It is, our body and mind is like the hardware and software of a computer. They cannot function unless they are connected with an UPS. The uninterrupted power supply to our body-mind complex is Atman, our self, which never dies. It is the power of the Atman, the glory of the Atman, or self, which gets reflected, manifested through our body and mind, making it appear as conscious. So the more we are able to make our mind clean, greater will be the manifestation. Herein lies the efficacy of morality. The more the mind is pure, more it is clear, more the mirror is clean, greater will be the reflection. Now we come to a short description of the mind. So as we are able to unearth its hidden powers, mind has three constituents, 4 levels, 4 functions, and 5 conditions. The 3 constituents of the mind are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Poise, dynamism, inertia. They become dominant on our mind by turn within 24 hours of the day. The Sattva, or poise or tranquility, elevates us and it is known by its effect, purity, knowledge, joy is the effect of Sattva. When it is dominant, we feel like that. The effect of Rajas or dynamism is threefold: desire, action, restlessness. And the effect of Tamas or inertia is inaction, dullness, delusion, which degrades us. So we'll have to learn how to keep the mind more and more on the Sattva mode and less in the inertia mode. The technique also will say in the short compass. The mind has 4 levels. The normal 3 levels which are known to us are conscious, subconscious, unconscious. Wakeful state, dream state, and deep sleep state. Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. Chetan, Avachetan, Achetan. The yogis claim that there is another 4th level of the mind, which is superconscious, Oti Chetan. When the mind rises to that level, then enormous powers of the mind gets manifested. It is at least necessary to know that we have a 4th floor. Though we are having our run on the 3 floors only, but we are the owner of the top floor also, where you can enter at our choice. And as I said, mind has 4 functions. First function is remembrance, memory. This part is called chitta. Second function is cogitation, to find the alternatives. Third function is decision. And fourth is actualization. So whenever any response comes, first sector of the mind recognizes the item, places to the mind, manas. It makes an alternative, goes to the third section, which is buddhi, intellect, which decides. And lastly, our ego or ahankar gives a nod, and the work is actuated. So man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, these 4 functions of the mind are always operative for every action and reaction. And the 5 conditions of the mind are: first is shipta, and second is mudha, scattering and darkening. Mind always gets scattered through the impulse of dynamism, or darkened through the impulse of inertia. When we try to concentrate the mind, then that condition is vikshipta, gathering. It comes and goes. And when we are successful to focus the mind on one point, then it is called ekagra, or one-pointed. And when the mind is one-pointed for sufficient duration of time, that condition is called concentrated, or niruddha. Now, when the mind is concentrated, then a wonderful thing happens. The hidden powers of the mind gets manifested. So this can be given an example. Suppose you have a lens in hand. Now you see the sunshine outside. If you focus the sunshine and is one-pointed, you hold it for sufficient time, then it generates heat. And hold it for a longer period of time, it is so much heated that it burns the surface. In fact, that is how the fire is to be created in older times. Even now, these artificial fires are created by concentrating the sunshine with a piece of cotton. Just to show that concentration gives enormous power. So Avi, now with this short description, all I wanted to say that whatever problems come to us, either in the form of a pandemic or in our social life, family life, professional life, academic life, whatever problems come, they tend to disturb our mind. And this disturbance can be tackled by making the mind calm. If your mind is anchored, still, then no external disturbance can create any movement. And that can be achieved by learning to concentrate the mind in a regular fashion. It is our own mind. And unfortunately, neither we have sufficient knowledge of our own mind, much less the technique to handle it in the proper fashion. So let us make a beginning without blaming anyone. The mind which is responsible for us, for whatever we are today, that mind is not being given even a simple rest. Mind is after all a machine, as our body. When you sleep, the body gets rest, but not the mind. Then the mind goes in the subconscious level and works in the dream state. So at night, it is active in a subconscious level in the dream state, and while we are awake, in the conscious level. So when a piece of instrument is continuously worked, what happens? It develops tension. Any machine will become heated. So our mind also becomes full of tension. And after middle age, it gives an indication. First is loss of memory. We do not remember the telephone calls, the appointments. We ask our secretary. We call the files. Then we become irritated. That induces wrong decision, and that irritates the mind further. Not only that, if our mind is under continuous tension, then the tension of the mind gets transferred to our physical body as well. The modern medical science has proved that most of our disease is rooted in the tension of the mind. That's why it is called psychosomatic disease. Psyche is the mind, soma is the body. They are interrelated. This can be avoided if the mind is given periodic conscious rest. Sleep is not a rest period of the mind. It is for the body. So that can be done if we tend to concentrate the mind for a few minutes every day, regularly. That commitment should be there. It is not for anyone else, it is for our own welfare. Even if there is no pandemic, we have to live healthily. We have to face the challenges of our own life. So for that, at least 2 sectors of the time in the 24 hours should be kept apart. It's not a tall order. It's to start with 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, if possible. And gradually be increased up to 30 minutes in each slot, maximum 1 hour in 24 hours. If not possible, at least 20 minutes. If not possible, at least 10 minutes. Morning 5 minutes, evening 5 minutes. And the prescription is simple. Let us sit quiet for some time. Watch our breathing with eyes closed. And then gradually we'll see that as the breathing process becomes rhythmic, the mind is settling down. And mind is refreshed. Slowly and gradually the time has to be increased up to 30 minutes in each slot. And that gives a sufficient rest to the mind. And after the rest period, let us read a piece of holistic literature as per our choice. Whatever you think is elevating, any scripture, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Ramcharitmanas, Bhagavatam, Upanishads, anything, Quran, anything which elevates us, few minutes, couple of minutes to 3 minutes, morning and evening, coupled with this period of concentration of the mind. Our own mind gets refreshed. We'll find to our dismay that whatever challenges we are faced, we can win over with confidence, with joy, with success. Thank you. Question.
Thank you, Swamiji. That was really enlightening, and it took a lot of stress away from our lives. I would like to please invite Professor U.K. Mishra sir to felicitate Swamiji and then give us address the audience.
So it will be good to find out, some of them they do have some issues about some of the like what to give fluid challenge and preload, contractility, afterload. If any one of these issues are taking time, we can really recap that tomorrow.
I think it's the perioperative cardiac. I think it's they're talking about the AF and VT. I think this is what we've been talking about.
Swamiji, Professor Mishra, distinguished faculty, alumni, friends, I'm so lucky that I came here and got this opportunity to meet you all. Whatever has been said has been amazing, and it will take time to sink. Once it thinks, we will definitely derive benefits out of it. But this is a crisis period, and we are all struggling in this crisis. Suddenly, unexpected large number of patients has turned in. And it's a war-like situation. There's high mortality, morbidity, stress, anxiety. And everyone, every specialty and every general doctor is facing with this problem. We are all super specialists and have been working in our own areas, but this crisis has exposed the chinks in our health system. Suddenly we realize that although we are great to be super specialists, but we can't be super specialists unless we have roots well entrenched to the basic ABC of medicine. And any health system which has not given due importance to the basic system is struggling. Those societies which had a good basic primary and secondary health system have done much better and will continue to do that. Any crisis gives an opportunity to look back what are the weaknesses in our health system, in our patient care program, teaching and research. And all the developments in medicine, friends, have come out from the war. Majority of developments, whatever we are practicing, have emerged from war, and this is a war-like situation. So the only silver lining I see that we all will apply our mind and think that how we can make our medical care affordable, teaching relevant, and research relevant to the society. With all of you collected here to look at your experiences, what you have been doing in the past few years, how are you going to take forward. This time is a great time for us to think that how to make our teaching, patient care, and research relevant to the people. Thank you very much.
I would request Swamiji to please felicitate Professor U.K. Mishra, sir. We have a short video. We had a fellow from Nigeria, Dr. Sunday, who we've spent some memorable time with her. She had a few words. She wanted to address everybody.
Sorry, cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
It's a wonderful program. Experience was wonderful. I had experience both in laparoscopy and open surgeries. I learned new techniques, and being a general surgeon, I would say that all these things they are not new courses.
I'm sorry, cannot hear you. I'm sorry. It is indistinguishable.
It's patient management. And I am happy and glad that this is that will fine-tune my experience as a surgeon. Now I'm very hope to be practicing as endocrine surgeon. I have challenges, I won't deny that. Challenges of language barrier, challenges of feeding, and food type, and this, I will say, is a flaw on my side. Yes, appreciation, I want to appreciate the department, all the department members, especially Professor Eskemishan, Mr. Jerry Professor Bianchan, Mr. Robert Nawal, and Mr. Nawal. All of them are subject to the extent they could. I understand I'm a foreigner, I also understand we have residence institution. I wouldn't say that Bishop was a big, but I want to tell God Almighty and make this opportunity come true. I also want to go broadcasting the good news and experience I learned from people. And I would want to also maintain the communication because that will help us on a daily basis. And then see bring more people, tell Africans about endocrine and endocrine. By God's grace, we will be first.
तूने शेयर किया कितना वीडियो शेयर किया था
Thank you.
ये connected. उनके साथ connected. So because Thank you, everybody. I would like to give my final vote of thanks to everybody who participated in this program to make it a success, especially Professor S.K. Mishra sir. He's behind, he has been the driving force behind us. Our chief guest, Dr. U.K. Mishra sir, thank you for being with us, for enlightening us, Swami Muktinandaji, all the faculty members who have constantly motivated us and encouraged us, the residents, the nursing staff, and of course the alumni. Without all of you, we would have had very little fun and absolutely no discussion. Our sister departments, endocrinology, radiodiagnosis, nuclear medicine and pathology, who have constantly supported us throughout our residency program and even in programs like these, our Foundation Day celebrations, is finally and not the least telemedicine. Without them, we could not have run this seamlessly. They have played the most vital role, especially at times like these, in running our EOPDs, in constantly supporting us with programs like these, in furthering our knowledge as well as our patient care. Thank you very much.
Without a break, we'll go to the next edition of our function today, and I request Mr. Gaurav to come and introduce Professor Arvind Nair, who is our Foundation Day orator, and followed by that Professor Du. He joined from San Francisco. So welcome to both Professor Du as well as Professor Nair. And first, the Foundation Day oration by Professor Nair. Professor Gaurav Agarwal, my colleague in the department, will introduce Professor Nair. Here, you have to do it from here.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning to Dr. Du in Bay Area. It's my proud privilege to be introducing Professor Arvind Nair, the Foundation Day orator for today. To any congregation of endocrine surgeons, it is futile to even attempt saying any words for Professor Nair. He's been the teacher of many teachers. To the current day residents, it is indeed a fact that Professor Nair has trained all your teachers. And I feel proud that even though I may not have personally, physically been trained by him in Vellore, but I have learned a lot from him. Professor Nair, who started the endocrine surgery department at CMC Vellore, and then of course, the MCH program, has been instrumental in training almost the whole generation of endocrine surgeons who now are continuing his legacy forward. Professor Nair has had a long and very eminent surgical and academic career spanning over almost 4 decades at the CMC Vellore. He joined the department as an assistant professor in 1982. He has had stints of working and training at University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff, UK. And he continued to work as professor of endocrine surgery at CMC Vellore until his retirement in 2011. But even after that, he has been in active academic and surgical practice at CMC Vellore until 2014, and he continues to be emeritus professor for the Tamil Nadu MGR Medical University at Chennai. So I request and invite Professor Nair to kindly deliver his foundation day oration. Professor Nair.
Starter. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, loud and clear. Please go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Gaurav, for those nice words. Respected Director, Dean, Senior Faculty, Faculty members, Dr. Mishra, Amit, Gaurav, Dr. Varma, Anjali, Gyan, residents of Endocrine Surgery Department, alumni of department, friends, ladies and gentlemen, and Professor Du. At the outset, I must say I am honored and humbled by this request to address you on the occasion of the 31st Foundation Day. Actually, it coincides with my 31 years of service in CMC before I retired in 2011. How time flies. It looked like yesterday only I heard that Dr. S.K. Mishra is moving on to SGPI Lucknow to start a department of endocrine surgery, and now we are here 31 years after that. If you look at general surgery, we had many stalwarts who still were doing a little bit of endocrine surgery while still continuing to do endocrine surgery. But it was only later on, in the early 90s, that SGPI and Madras Medical College had their own departments, had started a separate department of endocrine surgery. To start a department to start a department of endocrine surgery when there is none in the country is a Herculean task. And hats off to Dr. S.K. Misra and his team who took up this challenge and went about the task non-challengedly, planning the department from scratch. One needs space, faculty, support staff, support departments, operating time, research facilities, library, mentors to look up to. Luckily, in UK, USA, and Europe, Japan, already they had endocrine surgery departments, and it was to them that we had to look up to see how we could build a department. In addition to that, we had meetings, conferences, and journals to get an idea how to set up a department. I thought I'd go down memory lane with how we functioned before the till the early 80s, and then go into the history of endocrine surgery a little bit, and then to see how we have grown after 1991. So the development of endocrine surgery actually goes hand in hand with how I progressed from a general surgeon to an endocrine surgeon. If you look at the Christian Medical College, that's the place where I joined as a novice, got trained by my mentor, Dr. A.S. Fenn, and then the greetings from the city of Vellore, and then finally became an endocrine surgery. So what we are today is because of our mentors and teachers. So if you look at the late 70s, until 1977, I joined CMC as a senior house surgeon. That time, general surgery was being practiced in many institutions, especially if you look at Madras Medical College, CMC, PGI Chandigarh, King George, Lucknow, Jaslok, Mumbai, and AIIMS Delhi. Endocrine surgery was part of general surgery. And we used to handle many endocrine patients despite the lack of the state-of-the-art facilities that we have now. Basically, our thrust was on clinical examination and making a clinical diagnosis. If you look at the investigations available those days in thyroid, we just had the protein by iodine. We had the iodine uptake and scan by which we could assess the function and the status of the gland. If you look at the adrenal gland, we just had urinary ketogenic steroids, and later on we had urinary VMA. Investigation wise, we didn't have ultrasound, we didn't have CT those days. We relied mainly on plain X-ray for thyroids, retroperitoneal air insufflation with IVP for adrenals, and then on-table methylene blue for parathyroids and pancreas, and of course frozen section was for. So these are just to show you how we functioned. If you look at the first slide, it just shows a solitary hot nodule. One, seeing that, we know this is probably a toxic nodule. If you look at here, this is a diffuse goiter. And when we look at the uptake studies, we know this is a toxic goiter because we see a very high uptake at 2 hours itself. Similarly, parathyroids, we used to use the methylene blue and see the blue, locate the blue gland and take it out. And usually only thing we had was that day, those days also we had frozen section. So we could do frozen section and confirm that what we had taken is a parathyroid. Now, if you look at this slide, this is the classical way how we image adrenal those days. It was an arduous task. We had to prepare the patient's bowel, put him flat on the table, put a finger in the rectum, inject air retrorectally till they had pain in the shoulder. And that time we knew that enough air is there. And once that was there, we made the patient lie down and did what is known as a minute pyelogram. Minute pyelogram outlines the kidney, and then we can see the tumor there. So that's how we were identifying the imaging and then proceeding with surgery. Despite these lack of investigations, we still continue to do a fair bit of surgery without much of morbidity or mortality. And if you look at imaging, the other imaging that we used was the arteriogram. Again, we didn't have this sophisticated arteriogram that we have there. We used to make the patient lie down prone, use a large lumbar needle, lumbar puncture needle, slowly go into, and when we hit the artery, we know that the needle starts pulsating. That time we take out uh, the lock, put a finger there because otherwise blood will spurt into ceiling. Take a large 20 cc syringe, inject with full force, and take pictures at different levels. So for the thyroid, we used to go through the carotid, and for the pancreas, we just had to go through that and take a little delayed picture. It was a very tedious task, and sometimes we could get a picture, sometimes we were too slow, and it had to be repeated. And this is just to show the clinical, how we went by clinical examination. Looking at a patient, we know this patient has got definite toxicity, is all the clinical features. This one is a straightforward solitary thyroid, typical Cushing's. Once we see this, we have the other clinical features. We just do the ketogenic steroids, ketosteroids, and take the patient for surgery. Those days, we were always doing the open surgery, transperitoneal adrenectomy. Later on, early 80s, we started doing the retroperitoneal approach, that is the Young's approach, the posterior approach, which was only suitable for lesions which were less than 4 or 5 centimeters. But one thing good we had a very good pathology department, and we could really get our final diagnosis using histopathology. In breast surgery, it was basically clinical examination, lumpectomy, and frozen section. We didn't have FNSE those days. So any patient with a lump would go in, nor did we have ultrasound, would go in for a frozen lumpectomy, frozen section. If it was malignant, we proceeded with, those days it was radical or modified radical mastectomy with radiation. And those days we started doing oophorectomy, prophylactic oophorectomy for most of our premenopausal women. What was a turning point for our department of endocrine surgery as far as India is concerned? It was 1985 when Dr. A.S. Fen delivered the Pandalai oration at the ASI, and he presented one of the country's largest series of adrenal surgery. And that was the first time we got MIBG. We heard about Norman Thompson, how he had done MIBG scan for a pheochromocytoma. We contacted him. Then we were directed to Amersham Labs, UK. From there, we got the dye, imported the dye, and did our first MIBG scan just before, that is in 1984. A little bit of history before I go into what happened after 1991. Very important note from Hippocrates, who made this statement 2000 years ago. I shall not cut stone, but I leave it to those who are specialized there. There itself, the father of medicine had predicted that there is a time will come when we will have to specialize. And if you, without any doubt, everyone will accept, it was Theodore Cocker who is really the father of endocrine surgery. And today, general surgery has developed to such an extent that we cannot really, a general surgeon can't handle everything, and there is a need for specialization. If you look at the pioneers for endocrine surgery in India, we look at the south, we had Dr. Sarat Chandra, Dr. Fen, Dr. Vittal. In Delhi and Chandigarh, we had Dr. M.M. Kapoor, Dr. Kataria, of course, Dr. S.K. Mishra joined later, then Dr. K.D. Verma, B.M.L. Kapoor, Dr. Bansali from Mumbai. These are all pioneer surgeons who had already started doing what we are doing now, but they mentored us and they encourage us to progress further in this specialty. Of course, we are very fortunate that Dr. Vittal and Dr. Fen and Dr. Mishra established the first department of endocrine surgery in our country in Madras Medical College, Christian Medical College, and Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute. And then after that, endocrine surgery really developed in leaps and bounds. Dr. Mishra started the doctoral diploma course in 1997 and the MCH in endocrine surgery in 2004. And then, of course, Madras Medical College, CMC, All India Institute, and now King George all have had departments. But if you look at the development of endocrine surgery in the country, it corresponds with the development of endocrine surgery in SGPGI, which became the hub for progress in endocrine surgery. This is a very nice statement I put. This is just for us to see how far we can go. This is from Alice in Wonderland, where final statement says, "Oh, you are sure to do that," said the cat. "If only you can walk long enough." So that is what we have to do. We still have to progress further and continue our journey in endocrine surgery. If you look at the history, the word hormone developed from the Greek word horma, which means to excite or stimulate. And that was added to the English lexicon when William Bayliss and Starling discovered the hormone secretin. And that is from where the word hormone came in and endocrinology became an entity. For an endocrine surgeon to be successful, there has to be a team also. You cannot have an associated department only. You have to have radiology, nuclear medicine, pathology, anesthesia is very important, and of course, nuclear medicine also. It is together they can form a team and build a department, and that's how all the departments that have really grown have this team concept. Now we look at the hormones that came off. It was Oliver and Schaffer who discovered that adrenal extract would cause increase in blood pressure. That is, they could create an artificial blood pressure by injecting adrenal extract. Similarly, Walter Cannon found the flight and flight response. And of course, we know Banting, Best, and MacLeod discovered insulin. Kendall and et al. Discovered the hormones of the adrenal cortex, and Charles Huggins discovered that certain hormones which if we could remove the source, we could cause cancer regression. But I think it is a most important advance was that of Rosalind and Yalow, who developed radioimmunoassay, and that is what has really revolutionized our diagnosis of endocrine disorders. If you look at Theodore Cocker, he did a phenomenal thing in those days. He reduced the mortality from 50 to 1%. And of course, did a lot of groundbreaking work in the pathology, physiology, and surgery of the thyroid gland, for which he was given the Nobel Prize. And this is just a picture from the Hunterian Museum, which signifies the Indian rhinos, where the first parathyroid hormone was discovered, much before it was discovered in human beings. Now, endocrine surgery, why do we need to specialize? Because the technical nature of these operations are associated with risk of operating in the neck. And specialty training started early in the 1978, especially in UK and US, and where their trained surgeons were being trained specifically for endocrine surgery. And slowly it caught up the rest of the world. It is, we all know that complications are less common when performed by surgeons who do at least 100 thyroid operations a year. And that is one of the good criteria, especially because we want to avoid damage to the leccarin nerve and the parathyroids. Now, endocrine surgery evolved over a period of time as individual ductless glands and their hormones were discovered. Endocrine surgery developed simultaneously as endocrinology became a specialty. Endocrine tumors, unlike other neoplasms, present more with systemic effects. They can be very small tumors who can cause marked changes in the body, aptly by the Hindi proverb, "Jitna chota, utna khota." This specialized knowledge and approach is a hallmark of endocrine surgery. Now we come to the later part, after in the towards the late 80s, when things totally changed from what we had in the early 70s and 80s. We got all this availability of all these immunoassays, newer drugs, ultrasound, CT, MRI, nuclear imaging, and FNAC genetic studies, better anesthesia facilities, and better operating rooms and ICUs. The whole thing changed how we handled endocrine surgery. Look at thyroid, from protein by iodine, we got everything: TSH, thyroid antibodies, receptors. For parathyroid, we got calcium, PTH, urinary calcium. Adrenals, we got aldosterone, cortisone, and metanephrine, normetanephrines. And pancreas, we got insulin, glucagon, gastrin, and somatostatin. So just to show how treatment revolutionized, from methylene blue, we could localize with MIBI scan the parathyroids. We could diagnose the adrenal tumors, the MIBG scan, which could show the parathyroids, and the adrenal imaging for the Cushing syndrome. And then we had the ultrasound for the pancreas, and of course CT also for the pancreas. In addition, we have the on-table ultrasound for the pancreas also. So the most rewarding aspect of endocrine surgery operation is to ablate the hypersecretion lesion and to obviate the need for long-term medications with attendant costs and inconvenience and side effects. From stealing the thyroid, we were able to prepare the thyroid patient before surgery with antithyroid drugs, Lugol's iodine. Theodore Cocker used to ligate the superior thyroid arteries, leave the gland for 1 week, go back and operate, because there were no drugs to control the toxicity those days. Similarly, for adrenals, it was always a very high morbidity and mortality in adrenal surgery, but with the advent of alpha blockade, beta blockers, treating or operating on pheochromocytomas became a joy and a treat to do. Similarly, for hyperaldosteronism, we got all the hormones plus the drugs. Initially, we relied basically on hypertension and potassium, hypokalemia. Now we have everything possible to diagnose specifically the aldosterone syndrome. Similarly, diazoxide for insuloma is a blessing, because we get time to control the patient and of course treat post-op also in case we don't get the insuloma. Endoscopic ultrasound, localized arteriograms, intraoperative ultrasound, all these have really revolutionized the treatment of endocrine surgery. Plus, the FNAC is something that is a big boon. I remember we used to operate on all plus breast lumps, all thyroids. Now with FNAC, breast and thyroid, we can find whether it's a cyst or a solid lesion on a FNAC, plus we do cytology. So FNAC has really revolutionized our management. Again, immunohistochemistry for medullary carcinoma and all tumors are very specific, and that is a new development that has really helped us to go. Similarly, in breast surgery, from clinical examination, we have come down to ultrasound, mammogram, FNAC, and surgical options are so many, from conservation to mastectomy, plus the role of adjuvant chemotherapy, chemoreduction, and hormone manipulation. All these have really helped us from the basic bilateral oophorectomy and surgery to all the new modalities of treatment. The development of anesthesia and ICU has really made a big difference in our handling patients, especially the ones which have got large thyroids, adrenals, especially the pheochromocytomas, which sometimes give trouble on table and even post-op. From 1991, the teaching and the knowledge and the workshops really made a big change in the development of endocrine surgeons, especially from general surgeons to endocrine surgery. Endocrine surgery department, SGP, under the leadership of Dr. Mishra, initiated the surgery, endocrine surgery updates, which were an yearly affair, workshops, conferences with both national and international faculty became, and so that stimulated all the others who attended to start their own setup and start their own teaching program. To the extent now we have almost all institutions in the country conduct endocrine surgery programs, workshops, conferences, and teaching programs. In addition to that, this is just some memories of and my memories of coming to SGPI, uh, all the sessions we attended, the faculty that attended the sessions. The other thing that really has changed how we manage and treat is the telemedicine, because telemedicine has linked many of the institutions that practice endocrine surgery. We have every month meetings where each one presents their data, presents interesting cases, and we also have chance to discuss patients and patient care, patient management issues. And this network has initially started with 2 or 3 institutions. Now many institutions in the country are linked to this, and we have a very good session. In addition to that, the telemedicine setup has connected us to the SAARC nations, and whenever we have these conferences, we are all linked to all the SAARC nations. So the knowledge and the skills and the techniques that we are developing is also being shared by all the countries. The other thing that we have learned, and we have during our training, and this is the multidisciplinary approach which we are following in our institutions. We have weekly meetings with nuclear physicians, radiology, radiotherapy, and endocrinology. Together we discuss all our patients, plan the treatment strategy. This has helped, and the same thing we continue in our telemedicine facility where we all join together and participate in this meeting, so that whatever knowledge and experience we have, we share with everyone. What is the future? Molecular medicine and new pharmaceutical and biological agents will modify the way we treat endocrine patients. Operations of today may alter significantly and become obsolete with the advent of genetic engineering. Telemedicine and robotic surgery will play a great role, which we now see in the last 6 months. This has helped us to link to our patients, consult them, advise them, and of course, robotic surgery is something which has taken off time and distance. They are no longer barriers in our field. I'm very happy that I worked in such a great institution and that we have such a team. You can see the team members who have taken over the baton from me and developed the department and taken the department to greater heights, heights which I could never have imagined. Dr. Paul, Deepak, Anish, and you must have heard them all of them speaking. They are really leading the department. We also have a dedicated teaching program. We continue workshops and even faculty training facilities we are providing to many, plus short courses. And I am really grateful to the institution and to the team that made me what I am today. My journey in endocrine surgery has been a phenomenal one. It has taught me how to do a good clinical assessment. It has taught me teamwork, humbled me, challenged me, and above all, given me great satisfaction. I thank all my teachers, peers, colleagues, students in my institution, and all over the country who have been partners in this wonderful journey. I especially thank Dr. Mishra and the team in SGPI Lucknow. For me, it is a second home, and I always look forward to coming there and interacting with them, and it is a joy to be there. Thank you, Dr. Mishra, and your team at SGPI. Thank you very much. Did I exceed after 20 minutes? Yeah. I have to unmute.
Thank you, Professor Nair, for this masterly oration. I'm certain that the audience would have grasped the depth of his involvement with endocrine surgery. He's been one of those pioneers who have developed the specialty in the country. But I can't. I mean, I can't. Uh, I can't resist quoting him. He often says, "Never is never and always. Never is never right and always is always wrong in medicine," and that is so applicable to endocrine surgery as well. Thank you, sir. And I now request my colleague, Professor Anjali Mishra, to introduce the next orator, Professor Kwon Young Du.
A very good evening to you all, and good morning to Professor Du. It's a real honor and privilege to introduce Professor Kwon Young Du. Though Professor Du needs no introduction, as due to his immense contribution to endocrine surgery, he is well known to all endocrine surgeons across the globe. It would indeed be difficult for me even to summarize his contributions to teaching, research, and training. But as is customary, and for the benefit of the younger budding endocrine surgeons, I would just like to state the highlights of his enriching and fruitful journey so far. So Professor Du graduated from University of California, San Francisco, and thereafter successfully rose to the rank of the professor. He has been the chief of section of endocrine surgery and leads one of the most sought after endocrine surgery programs in the world. The success of that program can be judged by its alumni. Their fellows have been academically productive and very successful, and most of them have obtained academic positions after training. Their fellows have been recruited to become academic endocrine surgeon, to name at some of the very good university like University of Wisconsin, Boston University, McGill University, and so on and so forth. Some of them are currently serving as chair of endocrine surgery, including Professor Akibubu. Professor Du's contribution to education and training has been immense, as I previously said. His area of interest is endocrine tumors, in particular adrenal tumors and thyroid cancer. Professor Deuce has an exemplary research record and has been recipient of many research grants. He has about 400 research publications in high impact journals. He is one of the editors of a very popular and very well known textbook of endocrine surgery. I'm sure all of us have gone through it many times. And
thanks.
besides that, he has nearly 50 books.
Well, you have to go or waiting, huh?
Professor Du has served in various capacities in different scientific societies, including president of American Association of Endocrine Surgeons.
Shall I close and give the key down, huh?
He has been on editorial board of
Okay,
various
I just lock and go.
The notable of which are surgery,
Just switch off the computer.
surgery, and
Okay,
JAMA.
okay.
Besides endocrine surgery, Professor Du has made other major contribution to UCSF and public service in general. He has been on Department of Surgery Quality Improvement Committee and Medical School CME Committee. Professor Du is a great crusader for diversity and has been serving in the Committee on Diversity and Inclusion in the Department of Surgery. He received the inaugural Trailblazer Award from the Society of Asian Academic Surgeons in 2018 for his contribution to the community of Asian academic surgeons. Needless to state, to his credit, he has many awards. That is so far as his research and academic achievements are concerned. But those of us who have been lucky enough to interact with him, they would be impressed by his unassuming and kind nature. The very presence of him enhance the value of scientific deliberation and discourse, and whosoever have attended international conferences would be immensely impressed by his deliberations. Today, we are indeed lucky to have him as our Silver Jubilee orator. Now, without wasting much of time, I invite Professor Du and let us discover joy of being an endocrine surgeon with him. Over to you, Professor Du.
Thank you very much, Anjali. That was such a wonderful introduction. Let me see whether I can share my screen. Desktop 2. All right. Well, if I mess this up, you let me know. This frequently gets messed up because do you see my presenter's view or do you see the whole view? Can somebody let me know?
It's fine. You got a good view, sir.
It's a good view. Okay. Thank you very much. I want to extend my congratulations to Dr. Mishra and to the members and alumni of the department. Thank you very much for inviting me to share this wonderful celebration with you. Dr. Mishra, with your help, has built a powerhouse of a tertiary endocrine surgery center that had provided excellent care to patients and training for the next generation of endocrine surgeons. When Dr. Mishra invited me to give this talk, I asked him what topic he had in mind. He was very clear. He wanted me to address my talk to the younger generation of endocrine surgeons about who we are, where we came from, where we're going to, our purpose. Why do we do what we do? I was talking to a surgical resident the other day while scrubbing for a case, and he was still choosing a specialty and asked me, why do you do what you do? Why endocrine surgery? The disease is intellectually challenging. The operations are delicate and fun, and we make people feel better. I went on and on. I can't imagine a better specialty. It gives me joy to be an endocrine surgeon. Now, here's my Twitter page. Social media, especially Twitter, frequently forces to distill complex issues and nuanced discussion into simple, declarative, unambiguous phrases. So when I pick my Twitter handle, I define myself professionally as that endocrine surgeon from San Francisco. So who am I? When is it all distilled down? This is how I describe myself. It is relatively self-explanatory. I'm an endocrine surgeon, general surgeon, and a laparoscopic surgeon. I love science and I believe in humanity. And now I explain the last line just briefly. I was born in Taiwan. It is an ancestral home of the Pacific Islanders. The Polynesians are descendants of the original Taiwan people. Here's a brief history of Taiwan. It was initially colonized by the Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch, but immigrants from China predominated, so Taiwan became part of China in the 17th century. China declined during the mid-19th century and lost many wars and territory to the Western colonial powers. And it lost a war with Japan and lost Taiwan to become a Japanese colony. When World War II ended, Taiwan returned to China. And after Chinese Civil War, it became the only province that was controlled by the nationalists. My parents immigrated to Brazil when I was 9. My father was a businessman, but eventually became a fazendero, a cowboy rancher with 5,000 heads of cattle in the Pantanal region of southwestern Brazil. My brother now takes care of the cows. Separately, at age 15, I moved to Washington, D.C. for high school. While in high school in Washington, D.C., I was adopted by my Greek-American family with whom I have remained very close. And so that is why I identify myself as a Taiwanese, Brazilian, Greek-American. Now, enough about me, how about us? What is endocrine surgery? Who are endocrine surgeons? This book, The History of Endocrine Surgery, was written in 1990 by the late Sir Richard Wellborn. It described in details how endocrine surgery evolved. Currently, most endocrine surgeons take care of patients with hormone-secreting organs, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, endocrine, pancreas. And in essence, endocrine surgeons are endocrinologists who can operate. Now, thyroid surgery has been done for more than a millennium. This is a well-known description of thyroid operation from Salerno in Italy in 1170. Frugati described how to remove a goiter. They used ceton, similar to what we do today for anal fissures. The tracts were first created by a hot iron rod. Then cetons were inserted and tightened slowly to cut through the goiter. If the goiter is pedunculated, like this drawing by Coker, then a bootlace is used to tighten around it. again, to cut it off slowly. Sounds very painful. And of course, being a Chinese, I should tell you that even 1,000 years before, during the 2nd century, surgery was being performed in China. This is Hua Tuo, the founding father of Chinese surgery, extracting a poison arrow from the famous warrior general, Guan Yu. Although thyroidectomy was done in the 2nd century China, the results were apparently dismal. Cao Cao, one of the kings during the Three Kingdom period of China, advised one of his generals not to have a thyroidectomy because 9 out of 10 people who had a goiter operation died. I will not attempt to tell this audience about the history of Indian surgery or the goiter surgery in China, but I would assume that goiter surgery was also already being practiced in India during the same period. Similar to the Chinese, thyroidectomy was also done by the Romans in the 2nd century. Galen knew about the problem of voice loss from goiter surgery and described the anatomy of the recurrent laryngeal nerve. He was known to put up a show, silencing squealing pigs by disrupting their vagus nerves with his finger. Of course, we all know Theodor Kocher, the father of modern thyroid surgery. He won the Nobel Prize for his work in physiology, pathology, and surgery of the thyroid, and set the foundation for thyroid surgery as we know today. Now, what about the parathyroids? The one-horned Indian rhino is a mascot of endocrine surgeons all over the world. You can see here during the COVID pandemic, we wear masks with the Indian rhino to identify ourselves as endocrine surgeons. We all know the story of Sir Richard Owen, who was the first to describe the parathyroid glands in the Indian rhino that died at the London Zoo. But you may not know this. Journey to the West is one of the best known Chinese classic literature. The Chinese monk Sanzang traveled to the West, to India, to search for the sacred Buddhist texts of enlightenment. The 3 demons that he encounters were Indian rhinos that disguised themselves as local gods. Now, but enough old fun facts. What about now? Our modern heritage started in San Francisco in 1979, when the International Association of Endocrine Surgeons was born. The IAES was a vision of Norwegian surgeon Peter Hyman. He wanted to organize a group of like-minded endocrine surgeons into an association, but died prematurely in 1978. His dream was realized by his friends. Since 1979, the IAES meet biannually. The meeting rotates through different continents. The last one was in Basel, Switzerland, and next year's meeting in Kuala Lumpur is delayed because of the pandemic. The American Association was born at the same time as the International Association at its first meeting at Ann Arbor, Michigan in 1980. It meets yearly, and I have had the pleasure of hosting it twice with Dr. Clark, once in Napa Valley in 1996 and once in Monterey in 2008. Professor Fujimoto organized the Asian Association during his IAES presidency and had the first meeting in Tokyo, Japan in 1988. I remember going to the 3rd meeting as a young surgeon when it was in Taiwan in 1992. And I have been to 10 Asian Association meetings since. Well, that was a lot about who we are. Let's talk about the joy of being an endocrine surgeon. The first and foremost is the joys we get from caring and serving our patients. I agree with many religious leaders and behavior scientists that people are fundamentally good. The urge to do the right thing for our fellow human is baked into our evolutionary inheritance. It is our nature to want to help others. There's no better job than to be a physician surgeon, where our knowledge, skills, and compassion can help alleviate suffering, calm fear, and inspire hope. Over the last 40 years, I have cared for tens and thousands of patients. I've cared for Silicon Valley CEOs, Nobel Prize winners, movie stars, prime ministers, and royals. I've taken care of gardeners, bus drivers, dishwashers, and farm workers. and I've taken care of prisoners, outcasts, undocumented, uninsured, and homeless. Throughout this time, I've derived the same joy in having the privilege to help care for and serve another human being. The joy derived from helping another human being transcend all political, religious, economic, and social boundaries. Simply put, it just feels good to help people, especially if you have the expertise to do it well. Now, another deep joy that we feel as endocrine surgeons comes from learning new things and from teaching others what we know. Confucius is epitome of a teacher in the Chinese culture. He taught us to ask questions and to follow the golden rules of treating others as you want to be treated yourself. Socrates is epitome of the wise teacher from the Greek culture. He was considered the wisest of the Athenians by the Oracle of Delphi because he knew that he did not know. And so he needed to strive to learn. Now, speaking of the Oracle of Delphi, as endocrine surgeons, we all know the prelaryngeal nerves are named the Delphian nodes because they foretell the future of the patient with thyroid cancer. Coker is another wise teacher, a cautious endocrine surgeon. He said, "A surgeon is a doctor who can operate and who knows when not to." Here's another wise surgeon teacher who has taught us when not to operate. Professor Miyauchi of Kuma Hospital showed us that many patients with microcarcinoma of the thyroid can be safely monitored and do not benefit from surgery. I had the privilege of editing several textbooks with my mentor, Dr. Clark. Some of you in the audience have contributed to these books. Thank you. The purpose of these textbooks was to teach students, residents, and young surgeons about endocrine surgery. However, I have learned way more about endocrine surgery, reading and editing from the contributors than you may imagine. The joy of operating. Operation is a privilege that makes being a surgeon special. For most of us, it is a passion that drives what we do. The operating room is full of history of thyroid surgery. Here are what's in my thyroidectomy tray set. I use a Leahy retractor to hold the strap muscles away from the upper pole, the curved Coker to hold the peanut for blunt dissection, the Mayo to spread in the avascular plane of Reeves, a cryo to dissect the superior upper pole vessel, and a mosquito or Halstead to clamp the sutures. Now here's another whole field of studying knots. Surgeons learn how to tie knots from fishermen and farmers, but the knots we use are some of the most basic knots. A good fisherman would laugh at us on how primitive our surgical knots are. Of course, we don't tie them anymore. Most of us use ligatures and harmonics. Here's some of the operations that my friends and colleagues have taught me. They're fun to learn, and even if I don't know them, if I don't do them anymore, learning them have taught me how to change my routine operation. This is MIVAD from Paolo Miccoli. I learned that I can make my incisions smaller and my dissection more precise. This is Woon-Yoon Chung's transaxillary robot-assisted thyroidectomy. I went to learn from him in Seoul, Korea. The robot is fun to use, but I'm not quite sure whether it's worth the trouble. Here's me learning how to do transoral thyroidectomy from Ankun Anuwan in Bangkok. I help now my partner Insu Se, who does this operation at UCSF. Here's an imaging-assisted augmented reality parathyroidectomy that was developed by my friend Jacques Mariscal in ERCAT in Strasbourg. And this may be the future. The joy of discovery. Surgeons are scientists. Much of the joys of being an endocrine surgeon is discovering new knowledge and developing new treatments. This is how Coker discovered the importance of thyroid hormone even before it was chemically identified. This is a famous picture of the two sisters. Picture on the left shows the taller 11-year-old with her 7-year-old sister. On the right are the sisters 8 years after the 11-year-old had a total thyroidectomy. Her hypothyroidism has stunted her growth, so she was now much shorter and slower than her younger sister. Coker learned this and stopped doing total thyroidectomy after this discovery. Here's another new discovery that may soon change how we operate. By using near-infrared autofluorescence to help us identify parathyroid glands during the operation. And we are beginning to use some of these technology. Speaking of the joy of discovery, we currently have an exciting project at UCSF on improving islet cell transplantation. The current technique of islet cell transplant is limited by the poor survival of the islets, so it requires multiple donors and does not have good long-term success. At one of our resident research day, after hearing the transplant surgeon's complaint, I mentioned that we seem to have little issue with parathyroid glands. We can easily auto-transplant them. And in fact, we even seem to have the opposite problem with overgrowth of parathyroid tissue with parathyroidosis. So I suggested that perhaps we should use the parathyroid tissue to help the islets. Casey Ward, one of the residents, decided to try out the idea, first in vitro, then in vivo. To our astonishment, co-transplanting parathyroid tissues with islet cells seemed to protect them and keep them surviving and secreting insulin much longer. You can see from the chart here of the red lines where the glucose of the rats that the mice that we transplanted to continue not to be diabetic. The parathyroid tissue promotes growth of new vessels that appear to be generated from both the recipient and the donor. Such robust response was able to keep the transplanted islets well vascularized and healthy. So we now currently have just started a clinical trial to co-transplant islet and parathyroid tissues with in patients with type 1 diabetes. If this works out, it may make islet cell transplant much more successful and practical. This is me helping the transplant surgeons removing the parathyroid gland from a deceased donor in the middle of the night. Now, the joy of friendship. There's a friendship with our colleagues, and I believe it was Norm Thompson who famously said, the endocrine surgeons are the friendly surgeons. Here are the pictures from some of the Asian Association meetings, including the one in New Delhi in 2018 that I remember fondly. Some of you may recognize yourself, and as well as Dr. Mishra in the middle there, giving his lecture. On the right are the pictures from the most recent Asian meeting in Melbourne. And that was the last international trip I took. It is a special treat to see, to hear, and to talk with our endocrine surgeon friends and colleagues. This is Dr. Clark's last operation. Wen Shen and I had the honor of assisting him. Atul Gawande, who happened to be visiting in the OR at the time, took this picture. We treasure our friendship. Here are my UCSF colleagues. There are numerous students and residents and fellows that have supported me through my career in endocrine surgery. And they are the major source of the joy that I found in endocrine surgery. So to conclude, It is a great privilege to be an endocrine surgeon. We have a wonderful history and many good stories. We have joy because we care for our patients, we learn and teach, we operate, we discover, and we have great colleagues and friends. And congratulations again to Professor Mishra and your department. And thank you for inviting me to celebrate your Foundation Day with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Du. Early morning. Yeah, I could see you to listening to the Swamiji's lecture. So early morning must be around 5, I think, or earlier than 5. So we enjoyed, as used to always do whenever I attend any of your deliberations in any of the international conferences that you have attended. Many of us in this audience, which are physically present here and located in different parts of the country and overseas, listening you very carefully. And they enjoyed this thing. And I again thankful to because you have taken time out to prepare this lecture, which was my desire to speak something different from. Because you are the person who can talk about something different because you have seen the world of endocrine surgery and the world how endocrine surgery has changed during these COVID times and how we're facing the truth of our practice of endocrine surgery for tomorrow, what kind of practice we should do in endocrine surgery in the future with this experience that you have gone out of the COVID. I thank you again from on behalf of all of us here, as well as people who are connected in different parts of the country. I just request you, both you as well as Nair, who is around, I kept an open house session. I want very close to my heart is just his last interaction. I want to see academic interaction with you as a letter Nair from this audience that is sitting here. So I request all the audience, though there is no question answer in orations, all of you know about it, but it's a friendly interaction that we would like to have with Professor Du as well as Professor Nair for a couple of minutes, maximum for 10 minutes. So anyone in the audience are free to raise your hands and just come out with your questions.
Remember, we are the friendly surgeons.
Yes, so I'm requesting friendly surgeons. And there is an admirer of you. Let me introduce you, Dr. Sabnam Daskar. She's from Alberta, Edmonton. So she's just smiling there, and she's closely following the publications. Even the July publication, JAMA Surgery also she has it. Yesterday evening, we had a video conferencing to talk about the parathyroid issues. I'm sure she will also have something to say. So it's open to all of you, please interact. Can someone moderate this discussion? See the raise of hands and please invite them to speak. Yeah, Dr. Sapna, go ahead. We could see here.
Dr. Mishra and Dr. Du, thank you very much. Excellent presentation and everything. And I will share that video. So Dr. Mishra was very kind to invest his time with me on doing a video on parathyroid. So my question to all of you is, I am not an endocrine surgeon. My perspective is more of that of a primary care super specialist. How do we make our colleagues aware about things like parathyroid hormone, for example? Because a lot of people don't really test for that, and I think that should be a part of a regular health checkup. So what are the different ways we can make our colleagues aware, primary care physicians, other specialties as well?
That's a fantastic question. And there are at least two conditions in endocrine surgery that are way underdiagnosed and way undertreated. One is primary hyperparathyroidism. The other one is primary aldosteronism. Now, and the problem is our traditional solution is education. Let's go and educate people. Let's talk to people and all that. I actually think we need to think about it differently. We should think about it in two-pronged approach. One is social media. We now can skip the primary care doctors. We can go directly to our patients, okay? So that's one way to do it. The other way is that we now have electronic medical record. So we can use the simplest artificial intelligence. If the patient has a calcium that's elevated, remind the doctor, hey, maybe you should think about checking a parathyroid. So one can imagine the new technologies that we have right now that we did not have 20, 30 years ago that would help us solve some of the problems of the, and it's a very important issue of under-treatment and under-diagnosis of primary hyperparathyroidism.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions, or George, just you want to chat something? Anyone from this audience here? You can speak from there if who is. We can put on the mic and speak.
No, Dr.
Chats? No charts. I didn't see any charts here. Charts on. Just 1 second. Let me just check it again. Yeah, a lot of charts you can. Let me read out. I think everyone should be doing that. It is a great experience to hear from Professor Nair, Professor Du. Thank you. This is from Sanjay, who is one of our alumni again, and Dr. Mukta Bakshi from Delhi. Again, appreciation for both of you. Dr. P.V. Pradeep, to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Du and Nair. Dr. Sabnam Das I just spoke about just now. Gaurav, we endocrine surgeons are indeed friendly surgeons. I also fondly remember the tour for San Francisco in October 2005 that Dr. Du gave me after operating session at VA hospital with him. And that concluded the drive down the Crooked Street. Crooked Street, okay. From Ajay Sharma again, how is teaching program in California in COVID times? So that's an interesting question. Maybe Kwan would like to take it. Ajay Sharma is based in Liverpool in the UK.
Yeah, I think initially it was quite difficult because everything was locked down. And those of us that work in 2, 3 different hospitals, even if we went to the hospital, couldn't go to more than one hospital at a time. Eventually things are loosening up. And the way that in general it has done is that it has made us sort out the priority of what is important and what is less important and what's potentially more dangerous. And so at the beginning, we have only the most senior, most experienced people take care of patients so that it will be fast and efficient and without exposing the less experienced students and residents to the potential infection with the pandemic. That has loosened up a bit, but still right now, half of my clinic is run over the video, just like this. It's basically a Zoom. And even when I see the clinic patients, I can only have one other person seeing the patient, but not at the same time with me in the room. So I actually use Zoom. I had a little iPad with me. I use Zoom so my fellow residents and students can follow me into the room so that they get to see or participate in the interaction. It is quite different. In the operating room, however, it's exactly the same. It's hard to change the operating room because you need to be physically be there.
That takes me to another observation, Dr. Do, because in US the tight law about telemedicine or teleconsultation, whatever you say, EOPDs. So you mean they have relaxed the rules now? Whatever I read from the recent president's statement, they have relaxed some of the rules. So previously, it may not be possible to give such kind of consultations through video. So what is the current concept there?
Right. For a long time, there was very limited allowance for telemedicine, for phone calls, and the insurance company would not pay for it. Currently, that rule has relaxed, but only temporarily. And I assume that it will be extended because for us, the ability to do video allow for, previously we would have some patients that would never come for follow-up, even though they need to. because they live too far away. Now it's much simpler for them. And so, I mean, the truth is that for us as endocrine surgeons, the only time I really need to see the patient physically is that I do my own ultrasound and I like to do my own exam. So I tell my patients, if I were to operate on you, I need to see you face to face and we need to be physically together at least once. But we don't have to do it multiple times. We can review the history at the beginning, start a video conference, and also follow up can be a video conference. I expect that the insurance and various things is going to change because the patients, the general populations are not going to want to change the convenience now of being able to see their doctors through the videos.
There are two appreciation statements from Biswak Chandra, one of our current residents, and for both of you, appreciating your lectures. And Ajay Sharma is one of our alumni, the first candidate alumni based in Liverpool, a transplant surgeon, and have experience in parathyroid surgery. But he states his act for transplant happens every Tuesday, and they are connected to the many other centers also, and they want also us to learn from their the exercises. I mean, it's happening, I think, here also, Dr. Ajay Sharma. Mukta has said that, what do you think, will telemedicine can replace traditional patient examination, as generally it doesn't give satisfaction to the patient and the doctor. Also, we can miss many important findings. This is a little deviation from the main topic, still you can take it out.
I'm trying to figure out what the specific question was.
The question is, actually earlier the telemedicine was not so well appreciated. What she says is, it never gives satisfaction to the patient unless the patient visits to the clinic and physically see the doctor. So since you have expressed some of your experience with telemedicine now with video conferencing that you're doing it, so does it, do you think it should replace the ordinary consultations, or it doesn't give satisfaction to the patient and the doctors? As far as
Yeah, no, I understand that. And in fact, we actually give the patient a choice. So we don't force them to do video and we don't force them to come in. Actually, to come into our clinic, the patient has to go through a good amount of screening, and also they cannot have their family with them. So they can only come to clinic by themselves. So when we have family members, we actually bring them in with Zoom. So it's a rare exception that the patient can have another person with them. So it's not the same thing as the old days where you can have the husband, the wife, the daughter, the son, and everybody there to help. But what we try to do is, yes, we give the patient a choice. And we have patients that insist that, they have to see me and I don't have any problem with that. But you have to see the way we are. We have to gown up, not just a mask and everything. We have face shields. The patient has to have the mask and all that. Luckily, so far, we have not had any transmissions in the hospital with something like that. But they are, they are descriptions of significant number of transmissions with interactions. Every interaction is some risks. And I imagine very similarly in India too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, our hospital is running only on EOPD. Very rarely we call patient for, unless they're scheduled for chemotherapy or some surgery because of the cancer. Otherwise, we have through EOPDs, hundreds of EOPDs happening from this building itself. I mean, this is the need of the hour. So there's no other option, as you said, given a choice to the patient, whatever they want. So only thing is you have to see that the countries have relaxed their rules and regulations, and especially insurance companies. So that also has flexed in this hour of crisis. I don't see any further questions or hands raised or in chat. I think thank you, Professor Du, as well as Professor Nair, for this kind of excellent lectures that they have given. It is a lifetime kind of lectures that everyone can expect from experienced endocrine surgeons like you, who have dedicated whole life, I think, to endocrine surgery. And with this also, I also want to declare that this is my last foundation day. 31st Foundation Day, and I established department in 1989. I think I said this thing to Kwan when we met in Delhi in 2018. And one day we have to stop. I think long years of journey, but still we'll be in touch in some event, any kind of or through this web, through interactions through Zoom or any other such kind of devices, right? But this is my last Foundation Day. I retire in June, and the next Foundation Day will come in 7th of September. I'm sure my colleagues, which will take over from me, the team is here, so they will take it more to the greater heights. So thanks, ladies and gentlemen, all of you to be here late in the evening and early in the morning for one to give this opportunity to interact with each other and the excellent discourse that you have heard. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Bye. Enjoy.
Just close it, leave.